Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games. Here we have Tony Scapone on the Epic Gamble versus Nick on lands. The Epic Gamble, of course, a much faster deck. See who has the play here shortly. Looks like a mulligan incoming. Now, one of the good things about the Epic Gamble is versus a deck like lands, you can afford to mulligan all the way down to 2 if necessary. You can just hit LED and Echo and draw a fresh 7. You know that they're not going to be interact game 1. And here we have a storm of 3 already with some mana. And there's the Echo, so a little bit extra beyond just that 7. Of course, Nick potentially wants to have a very specific subset of cards in order to even have a chance against lands. So you're taking a selected hand and turning it into a random 7, which, I mean, that can be really strong on its own. The Epic Gamble probably doesn't want to find out what those 7 cards are, though. It'd be happy to win right now. Echo of Aeons is basically better than Time Twister a lot of the time. Like, it's pretty crazy how strong this card is. And the backside of Bergie here, Arfnell, Horn of Bounty. When you have 7 new cards in hand, why not just turn them into twice the resources? Each card discarded going to turn into 2 cards in exile. Of course, if you discard an Echo, even better. You get to flash it back from the graveyard. But these LEDs, just incredibly good here. For those unfamiliar with the deck, this is a real treat. This is kind of in top form. Lion's Eye Diamond being used to cast the front side of Bergie. So since you're casting cards from exile and you have no cards left in hand, Lion's Eye Diamond is basically Black Lotus at that point. There is a timing restriction. You can't use it while casting a card, but you can just sack it for 3 red, discarding your non-existent hand, and then cast Bergie. And now all of these cards are even more of a bargain as Bergie gives an extra red mana. So Lotus Petal is good enough on its own, but here we have an extra bonus of adding a red mana and just really running away with it. Ultimately, just able to wish for a Tendrils of Agony. It's a weird version of Wish I got queued up there, but you get the idea. Getting a card from outside the game for the W in a easy game 1 without seeing really anything from Nick at all. He didn't know he was on lands. That's not the type of hand that you necessarily thrilled to keep versus any type of blue deck. They're not always going to have a counter. More so game 2, they'll have a counter than game 1 after they board in their Force of Negations. But versus lands, there's really not much they can say. All right. Skipping over the shuffling, the magic of modern technology. Nick will have the play here. Actually get to play with the cards that he selects. Opposed to getting them wheeled away. Tony on a mull, considering which 2 cards to put back. So a mull to 5 is up against a Sphere of Resistance thanks to this Ancient Tomb. Tomb, such a strong card. Both enabling and getting past lock pieces. We see Tony actually has a Tomb of his own. Putting out Lion's Eye Diamond. Dark Depths joins the board for Nick. Now that's not super exciting yet, but with a Thespian stage, he will be ready to go thanks to the Ancient Tomb's acceleration yet again. Tony considering his options. We saw a Fiery Islet. Sphere of Resistance, about as much as you can hope for versus a deck that's looking to play 10 or more spells in the same turn, adding at least 10 to their overall needed mana. Oh, and look at that. Force of Vigor taking out both Lion's Eye Diamonds. A huge swing, setting Tony back from literally 10 mana. Now he's got a Bergie coming on board, which is a win condition. The front side of Bergie and just beat down. We're talking 5 swings. Well, Maze of Ith, there we go. Before I even get that Saw it all the way up. Mazavith is easily going to stop that. Now, that's not a card that you're typically very excited for in this matchup, but in kind of this scrappy mess of a game with a Sphere of Resistance stopping anything too degenerate from happening, Mazavith will at least hold down the fort, maintain Nick's life total. Fence Grid and a gamble. Taking a gamble here. They have a 50-50 shot. They're finding Lion's Eye Diamond or Echo. No. No, actually not what he grabbed. All right. So Bergie went to the bin. You know what you would have grabbed there? A Wasteland probably just messed everything up. Taking out that Ancient Tomb. Very unfortunate for Tony. Sitting on 3 total mana with a Sphere in play. Avamaya allows for another Sphere. Did he pay extra there? I think he paid 1 extra mana than necessary. Here should have only cost 3. Oh, yeah, I think he preserved his life total. That's what it was. He tapped the tomb for green. Play that you can make on occasion. They're instructive. Not planning on using that mana anyways. Totally fine. Fence Grid's not going to allow you to do much anyways on your opponent's turn. Seiju, one of the only responses you might have, and you don't generally care about Defense Grid there. It's not going to interact. Just waiting for a Thespian stage, trying to make a 2020. Well, we see the crop rotation is in hand, so this could actually be very soon. Tony's just at 3. So a 2020, a bit of overkill, but Nick does need a way to do those final points of damage. And crop rotation now. Ready to just finish things on Tony's turn. End step, make a 2020 swing. The One Ring, wow. Scrappy. Tony not going down without a fight. This Dark Depths having been copied by Thespian stage makes the Merit Lage, nuking the rest of Nick's mana base, but it's just going to come right back thanks to Life from the Loam. Things really firing on all cylinders here for Nick. The One Ring, bit of a speed bump. Can't actually push through damage for the turn. Tony's able to get 3 cards off of this and an extra turn. Is that enough? One of the interesting things about the One Ring. Oh, he actually only gets 1 card out of it. Did not activate because he's so low on life. So just 1 extra card. Continuing to fight. Bergie helping out with the cause here as he struggles against this double Sphere of Resistance. Drawing a card. And there's the concession. So he was digging. I'm not sure what he has for answers there. Would have needed to be something along the lines of like a Hercule's Recall to get rid of both of those spheres in order to actually win the game. That seems like the only way out. I mean, he's at 1 life. The One Ring will kill you on your next turn anyways. So he needed a way to win right there and then. And it was not given up. So he is on to game 3. Well, he'll have the play. And some deep mulliganing for Tony. I think he might be down to 3. as alluded to earlier, just Lotus Petal into a gamble for Echo of Aeons as the only card essentially functioning as an entomb. Lion's Eye Diamond to flashback. Now, you'll note that Nick actually had some interaction here in the form of Surgical Extraction, but it doesn't do what you want it to do. So that's something to be mindful of when you're playing against a deck like the Epic Gamble, is it is possible to hit Echo of Aeons, but it is rare. Very difficult to actually have priority when they can't flash it back. There, if somebody cracks a Lion's Eye Diamond, putting it into the graveyard, you're not actually going to have priority unless there's some type of trigger from discarding, like a Megrim or something in play. There's not really things that we see in Legacy in the current format. Tony reloading. Surgical, basically just adding 2 Storm, -2 life, and an extra spell. Tony's up to 5 Storm here. And he's considering his lines. Nick will be in there with a blind 7. Will he get to use it? Got a whole bunch of artifact mana here. Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, and Grim Monolith off of this Ancient Tomb. Remember, this is off of a mulligan to 3. Got a Burning Wish for a relay. A little dicey here. He will need to pass the turn. Another Surgical Extraction. This time hitting Lotus Petals. So Tony out of a lot of the fast mana, Lion's Eye Diamonds and Lotus Petals out of the deck. That's certainly not all of it. He still has access to Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Grim Monoliths. Will that be enough? Let's see what this relay delivers. $11 cards. Will it be enough? Does it stack up versus this random 7 from Nick? He's got a Mox Diamond, some acceleration. However, just a Shadow Spear, that is not how you draw it up at all. The Shadow Spear could be useful with, like, say, Urza's Saga constructs. Not particularly relevant on a Merit Lage. If you're doing 21 with lifelink, I mean, they're dead either way. The life gain. The card's not right in front of me. I think it actually is lifelink, so you would technically gain the life. If it's more of a Spirit Link effect, then it would be a trigger and you wouldn't even gain the life. They'd just be dead to state-based effects. Tony has a ton of resources at his disposal here. Bergie front side. That's going to make all of these cards even better. All of them actually netting mana. These Chrome Moxes end up being upgraded to like a Lotus Petal. Even if you don't imprint, you can just play the Chrome Mox, not imprint, and still get a red out of it. So should be in pretty good shape here. At the very least, he's got the access to another relay to push things down the line even further. That's not where you want to be. Not a bad thing to have that option, but should likely be able to get here with what he has on hand. Got a bunch of mana. Gamble is basically just an entomb here, however. Cards like Defense Grid cost 2 but get you back 1, so they're fairly reasonable for just building Storm. And a Reforge the Soul. Just drawn 7. Wheel of Fortune effect. Rite of Flame. Mana is building. Question at this point is just how he's going to get his double black or tendrils if he's going to go that route, or can he actually get high enough to win with like a grape shot? Oh, wow. Here we go again. We got the horn. All of these cards can only be played this turn. So some of them are from relay, some of them will be from horn, but they're all going away end of turn. So this is all in at this point. Gamble. See what goes to the graveyard. He still has a few cards in hand, 4 in hand. A roll 1 to 4. Wow, that was like 6 rolls without finding a card. Gamble going to the graveyard. 0% chance he's gambled for gamble there. So here's a Mox Opal. Getting blue. Color restriction's a little bit of an issue right now. Echo. Bouncing his own Chrome Moxes, perhaps? Let me know if I got that one right. Yeah, I believe it was his Chrome Moxes. There we go. Squeezing all of the value out here. Another Rite of Flame. This is so many cards. Get to the 16 for Grape Shot. An awful lot of mana. I mean, he can pretty well play all of this stuff in front of it. Even the one ring can just be used to build Storm at this point. He's got so much mana. Loss of Lotus Petal, Mind's Eye Diamond certainly could have defeated a weaker Storm player. It's forcing Tony to make some plays that are not exactly how you draw it up for plan A, but he has had to pilot this through a variety of different opponents and all sorts of different circumstances. He is up for the challenge here. And there's the Grape Shot. Look at that. Despite losing Lotus Petals and LEDs, still finding a way and getting there. I think even if he lost Burning Wish there, I think he's still probably going to end up finding the regular Wish. There it is. Showing he still had 5 cards left in the deck, but what a crazy set there. Thank you for watching. For more magic from ELD's Time Vault games, be sure to subscribe and check out more videos just for you over here.